Hello, my dear ones, my beautiful sparks of divine light from God. How are you today? I'm coming to you to speak to you today about this question. What if we really are one? What if we really are one? What is this whole oneness thing? And what if we actually really are all one? So I want to talk more about that. But first I want you to see this beautiful place where I am, which is called the Bridge of Flowers. It's in Shelburne Falls, Massachusetts, and I highly suggest you come and see it. I'm going to turn this around so you can see this beautiful place. Just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And in fact, I'm going to take you off right now for a minute. And let's see. I want to take you and show you some more of this beautiful place. Well, the video is not working with me on that, being able to turn it around, but okay then. So you can see the gorgeous flowers we got here, and this entire bridge is just filled, soup to nuts, with these beautiful, gorgeous, stunning flowers. I don't know how anybody ever keeps them watered, because I know I'm struggling at my house. So, just so you can see these beautiful ones here too. Look at these beauties. Now I happen to love flowers, which is why I wanted to come here and do my video here today, because I love to be around flowers. I love to be with flowers, and they just make me feel good, you know. So I hope this will give you the experience, at least for now, of being around flowers, and then you can come to Shelburne Falls Bridge of Flowers at some point in your life. So here I am. I'm a personal growth coach, for those of you who don't know, and I help people to kind of live in the experience of joy and love and bliss. And I want to first of all thank you for watching this video, because if nobody ever watches my videos, I actually don't make a difference for anybody. It only makes a difference when people actually watch what I make. So thank you for watching this, first of all, and thank you for liking it, following it, and sharing it with others if you get value out of it. So we're going to talk about this question, and by the way, it's very hot out here, so I apologize if my hair is doing funky things. But we're going to talk about this question: what if we really are one? And what does that mean in practical reality of how we live our lives every day, day in, day out? So many of you, I bet if you're watching this video, you probably have an idea of this concept of oneness. You've probably heard of it. Maybe you studied a little, you probably did your spiritual homework. I bet you studied a little Buddhism here and there, or, you know, some of the Western religions, and those really have oneness as a core integral part. And you probably kind of get this concept that if we all walked around in life that we were thinking and believing and knowing that we were one with each other, it would probably be a better world, you know, because we do nicer things to each other, knowing that really I'm interacting with the other me over there. We'd be nicer to each other. We would understand each other. We would have more compassion for each other if we really came from this experience that we are all one. Now, I'm not here today to try to convince you that we are all one. Here's what I'm saying. If you're watching this video now, my guess is you think that we are one in some way, shape, or fashion, and that it's very valuable to consider that we are one. And if you're not in that space where you don't believe that, then probably this is not the video for you, because I'm not going to talk about convincing you we're all one. I'm going to talk about, let's take as a premise we are all one, then how does that show up in order for us to create this world that we'd like to create, this world of peace and harmony and bliss and joy and prosperity for everybody, right? How does this concept of we are one get us to that experience of life? So again, if you're on this video, you're probably somebody who believes that. I bet you're a person who maybe gives money to charity. I bet you're probably a person who helps little old ladies across the street, has a puppy or a cat, and gives back money if you get too much at the grocery store. If you're that kind of person, then I'm saying that this is the video for you, because you are now, by watching this video, stepping into this concept of being the trendsetter, of being the forerunner of what we might call a movement on this planet, a movement in consciousness from the muck and mire where we've been to this other place of love and light and joy and bliss, like these flowers. So I'm going to assert that if you're listening and want to continue listening, then you'd like to be that. You'd like to be bringing the planet to that place. So then how do we get there in our concrete reality? So if we were considering, for instance, that we are all one, how would we be being with our loved ones and our children, our mothers, our spouses, our, sisters and brothers and all that, and the teacher and the person at the grocery store, right? When they do this thing that maybe gets annoying or makes us angry, or we don't want it to be that way, we want them to do it a different way, would we be this, getting annoyed, getting irritated, barking at them, snapping, saying, oh, you should do it this way, and la la la? Would we be being that way? Probably not, if we really believed in our oneness, right? Because that would be like arguing. We'd be arguing with ourselves. That doesn't make any sense at all, right? To argue with ourselves. So if we really believe we were oneness, we would just be able to, to understand that everybody has a different outlook or a different view. And in point of fact, we ourselves, in our myriad millions of lives, in our existences, as the eternal souls that we are, we have probably been those different ways that we criticize other people for being in our life. So we would understand that. We would understand the oneness of it all. We've tried it all. We've done it all. So why would I, try to argue with you or get you to be some other way than you are, right? But the thing, what gets in the way is of that, well, it's first of all this thing I call the little voice in our heads, which you can watch my entire series on the little voice in your head, which is 5 different videos in my BitChute channel. And that, would be one thing. That little voice in our heads is what kind of keeps us, that criticizing, judging, etc. Listening to that voice. Listening to that voice is what kind of keeps us from being that oneness that we are, right? And here's what I noticed about people. I'm talking about the human part of people. I'm talking about the separate, feeling like you're separate and you're small and all this from God. That part of people wants what it wants when it wants it. And it doesn't matter what we've said or how we've looked at things. In the moment when we want something, we will flip that right around just to get what we want. Right? Now, I think some of you probably know what I'm talking about, but it's that, for instance, if you were this woman's liber, right? And you said women are perfectly capable of doing whatever they want, but then in the moment and your tire's flat and you want it to be changed, now you're making your husband or your adult child wrong for not dropping everything and going and changing your tire for you because you don't want to change it, right? And now there's a whole nother story about women's lib, right? Never mind the women's lib. You're not even going to deal with the women's lib. You just want somebody to change your tire. So, and if you notice, like, people are like that. They say one thing all the time, but in the moment when they want something, they'll flip it right around and make somebody else feel guilty or like they're doing it wrong or whatever else like that. So this is the thing that is not the oneness. It's definitely not the oneness to be doing that thing. Okay? So we got to get clear on that if we're going to be in oneness, we need to take a step back from whatever that crazy voice is saying and consider that, wow, what is really truthful and honest? How do I have integrity with my speaking about things and then go do another thing? That doesn't work. I'm going to have to be in integrity with what I say and what I do, right? Because that's oneness, right? Because we're all connected and I need to treat the other guy exactly the way I would want to be treated, right? So that's one thing. So now you say, well, okay, what about all the people in the world that do not very nice things? What about the thieves, the criminals, the people that cheat other people, or that maybe even yell at their kids or even hit their kids or their spouses or whatever? What about all those people? I really don't want to consider that a oneness with those kinds of people, right? Nobody wants to consider that. I don't want to consider that. Especially, we've been working real hard to be good people, right? So we definitely don't want to associate ourselves with those people. But the point of the fact and the reality is that we have been those ways of being, if not in this life, then in other lives. And we actually made a choice. Now we want to be a different way because we don't want that. We don't want that for our lives, right? So, for instance, consider that we're these sparks of divine God and we're just floating around in the universe having a good time. And we decide we choose to come to the physical world to experience all the wonderful things of being physical, right? And holding a baby and swimming in a pool and smelling a flower and all that. But then we come up against all the muck and the mire of being physical. We got to pay the rent, it's hot, and we don't have an air conditioner, and people are cheating us, we don't have enough money, and blah, blah, blah. And we turn, sometimes in some of our lives, we turn nasty. So one life we're a victim, and we're a victim another life, and a victim another life, and then we say, I'm not going to be a victim, I'm going to be a victimizer. I'm going to get them before they get me, right? We turn nasty. And then at some point, if we go far enough in our process, right, many, many more lives, we say, well, that's not very much fun being nasty, because everybody's nasty back, and life doesn't work, and there's karma and all this. So we come back to being nice, right? So what you see when you see somebody out there who's doing all these not nice things, right? It's really just you at an earlier evolution. An earlier evolution of you, your higher self, your spirit, your soul, whatever that thing is, at an earlier stage of evolution before you decided it's not so fun to be nasty, right? So we really can't, kind of judge those people if we want to come to that oneness. We want to come to that harmony. Yes, we can put a stop to what they may be doing to hurt others, but we can't really look at them and say, what terrible people they are, because we've experienced it all. We've done it all, right? So now, let's think about who else are we one with then? If we're one with all those kind of not so nice guys, well, it's also true, by the way, and this could be really hard for some of you, it's also true that we're one with all of the amazing people that have walked this earth. We're literally one with Jesus, and we're one with Buddha, and we're one with Einstein, and we're one with Mother Teresa, and we're one with Martin Luther King Jr., we're one with Caruso, right? We're one with all these amazing people doing these amazing things on the planet. Those are us's too. Now, it's hard for some of us to get that because we have such a low self-esteem, and religion has told us, that we come into this life as a mess, like we have this original sin that we got to try to make up for our entire life. The minute we come in as a little baby kicking our feet, right? Our Catholic religion has told us, and our other Christian religion has told us we're so lousy that there had to be a guy come and get killed to make up for how lousy we are. Right? I mean, this is what we've told. But in practical reality, if we don't understand our oneness with those amazing people, we're missing the boat. Because who goes out there and commits crimes? People that think they're criminals. Do people that think they're divine sparks of God go out and act like criminals? No, that doesn't happen. So in order to really go out into the world and have everyone acting like wonderful, good, loving, beautiful people, we must know that that's who we are. We are those divine sparks of love and light. And by the way, I can tell you, I remember some of my past lives, and I can tell you, and I've been around in some of those lives. I've been around some of these great people. For instance, I've been around Yeshua, Jesus, if you will, okay? So I know for an assurity that his point in coming here was not to tell us that we are so lousy that he had to be killed just to try to make up for that, right? That's not his point. His point was for us to know our greatness, to know we're divine sparks, we're children of God. And he said that. He said, you are my brothers and sisters, and I am the Son of God. Well, that makes sense, right? We are also children of God. So we need to stop taking these, making these crazy assumptions based on whatever some other guy like religion or whatever is telling us. And by the way, those religions had a very good reason to not tell us exactly the whole truth, because many of them wanted to keep us under control for centuries and centuries to make sure, of course, that they got their money, their pound of flesh, or whatever the case may be. So these ideas were set in there, not coming from love for mankind, but coming from some other place. So we need to understand our greatness so we can go out and actually be that greatness in the world. We need to understand we are one with all of those amazing people. So now, if we're one with all those amazing people, are we also one with those really horrible, hideous, terrible people that really commit these horrible crimes against humanity and children? Well, I can tell you, I myself I have to teach myself on this, because when I hear that a Jeffrey Epstein or a Ghislaine Maxwell who harmed those children so terribly, when I hear that they're arrested, I want to jump for joy. And sometimes I do jump for joy, right? I'm so happy that there will be no more victims of these individuals, right? So I'm jumping for joy. But okay, I let myself do that in the moment because that's my experience and I don't want to stifle it. But then I must get back to, if I truly believe in oneness, in love, and having harmony and peace on this planet, then I must get back to, wow, yes, I am even oneness with those, you know? Because if I don't get back to that space, then this world is not going to be created as the love and the joy and the bliss that we want. You know, so if we're, for instance, there's going to be information that's needed, that's going to be coming out. We understand this to be true. That's going to tell us all of the terrible things that have been going on, these crimes against humanity. It's going to be immense, right? But if we have these guillotines in the middle of the street and people, you know, jumping and clapping and all that, that is not going to create the love and peace and bliss we want on this planet. Because that's revenge, that's anger, that's hatred. That is not going to create it. So I, myself, am more committed to having a world of peace and love than I am to anger, hatred, and revenge. And I know what I'm speaking of, my dear ones. I'm not criticizing and judging, because I was the victim of childhood torture. And I had to come through all of those experiences of rage and anger and wanting revenge and all of that because of my commitment to have love on these planets. I had to get to a place where I could forgive all and just love everyone unconditionally. Now, again, the stories of these Ghislaine Maxwells and these Jeffrey Epsteins, if you were to hear the stories of what was done to such people as children, it would probably make a strong man cry, because people just don't come out of the womb knowing how to torture people and wanting to do it. It happens when it's done to those individuals, and then they learn that and they do it to other people and other individuals. So what do I do when I'm in that space then of like, you know, I'm so happy that they've been maybe arrested or whatever, but I know I must get back to oneness and I must get back to love and harmony. I remember, okay, these terrible things probably happened to these individuals, and I don't know if it happened to me, would I be any better? You know, I remember there, but for the grace of God go I. You know, I remember that the God, or the creator of all things, loves all of his children, bar none, even those that went astray, right? And that God would embrace them if they would even just turn back toward love. God would embrace them each completely and utterly. And that's unconditional. Now, that's not to say he would let them go on and hurt people. No, that's not the case. But there would be a loving embrace for any child of God's that would come back. So I remember that. Okay, so how can I be more judgmental than God? I can't do it, right? I remember also what Shakespeare said, that all the world is a stage. So we have people that come here and literally act on the stage like a play, right? We are in a play. That's ourselves too, right? Because we are sent down from our higher selves to be these actors in this play, to learn or to experience or whatever we're doing, right? And at some point it ends. And even though a person might seem to be harmed or even killed in this physical life, that person goes on, or that spirit, that soul or whatever. There's no killing ever of the spirit or the soul. So this is a game, this is a play, right? So we can remember that each individual that seemed to be devastatingly harmed actually goes on eternally, right? And we can also remember that some people literally come to this play or this game to play a role so that we can learn. So, for instance, my former husband, I realized many years after the fact that he had come to this earth in one way for his own reasons too, but also I believe firmly he came to this earth to help me learn to love myself, because I had no self-love coming into that relationship. I had no self-esteem. But him having this problem with alcohol forced me to find that self-love. Otherwise, I was going down. And I might, who knows, I might not make it through this life, and I probably wouldn't have, but it forced me, being up against that, to find that love and that self-esteem. So some people do come to these lives and play these negative roles for us so that we can learn things. So all of those things will help me to remember and get back to the oneness and the joy and the bliss that I want to create on this earth. I want it. That's why I'm forgiving and letting go of separation, right? Because I want it. And I hope you want it too, as the trendsetters, as the loving, good people that you are. I hope you want to take on that role to be a trendsetter and to create this oneness out there, at least in your life, and then it spreads to others. Now, how do we do this in the concrete world of, like, when we find out all of these terrible things that have been going on? Well, we know that people need to heal. We know that, for instance, people that are victims, there are many, many ways to heal them. We have counselors, we have therapists, we have the powerful transformational work that I'm trained in, and I created my own processes to do that for other people. And that actually began when I was training at some place called Landmark Worldwide. And these are ways to take out of our lives the effects of whatever we've experienced, which was hard for us or traumatic or whatever. So we can take those out, those effects out, whatever those effects may be. However we show up in life, that's a result of what happened to us. So we can take them out. And we can also erase the physical effects, the physical trauma that we hold in our bodies in different ways, and eventually will make us sick. So that's what we do for those victims, of course, those people who have been harmed by other people. But if we truly take on oneness, if we truly want this world that works for everyone, we're going to need to bring some of that over as well to the people that have been the harmers, the hurters, right? We can use those same, is there a way to use those same processes to begin to heal whatever has occurred with those people? Or at the very least, if we have a place where we put people so they don't hurt other people, call it a prison or whatever, is there a way to make it a place of love and light? Is there a way to make it a place where there are flowers and there is beautiful music playing, and there is the fresh air to breathe and good healthy food? Is there a way we can bring to those individuals the loving experience of life, at least to some extent, that they never had? And that's why they became the hurters and the harmers that they were. Is there a way we can bring that understanding to them? Because I can assure you that how karma works, how physicality works, is we're not going to see spring up this whole world of love and joy and peace and bliss unless we be that for everyone. We must be that for everyone. Now, I'm not saying we have to let people out and hurt people. No, that is not the point. But we must bring a different experience of life. We must, for our own healing, bring love to everyone. I know it's not easy, but you are the trendsetters. You are the people who have at least the knowing and the consciousness that oneness is the way to go. And I know you'll be able to begin to bring this forward into your lives. So now, if you've appreciated this message, I appreciate your sharing it. If you've really, really appreciated it, you can check out my Patreon page and see if you might want to support me in this mission of love and joy and oneness and all of that. Do check out my Patreon page and look and see if that's something you want to do. And for all the rest of you, again, I thank you for watching this. I send you love, peace, bliss, joy, fun, play, ease, and everything that can make your life a miracle.